don't know about you guys, but I love terrible movies. Sharknado, The Godfather, just the typical shitters that not a lot of people really appreciate. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, mainly because I'm a fucking loser, and I came across a particular film that truly piqued my interest. The title of this film was, quote, The Shark Side of the Moon. Spoiler, do not watch this movie. It is fucking horrible. However, I love it. Now, I'm not sure about you, but upon hearing this title, my interest was completely peaked. Sharks on the moon. Sign me the fuck up. Get me up there. I went into this film with questions. I was astronomically high when I first watched it, and quite frankly, I needed answers. I am now going to take you on the same adventure that I had when I first watched Shark Side of the Moon. This is the worst movie of all time. In my opinion, of course, there are some other contenders for worst movie of all time, like Pulp Fiction or Goodfellas, for example. Now, before we even begin, yes, this movie is fucking stupid. And quite frankly, it is borderline unwatchable. We will get into that. However, the film embraces the stupidity, which I think deserves genuine respect. I was this movie's 100th follower on Twitter. I would love a signed poster, please. And on their Twitter, they make jokes talking about how the movie should be like Oscar nominated and shit, and it's actually pretty funny, unlike any of the dialogue in the actual movie. And the writers that I could find, Ryan and Anna, seem like great people. I don't know if they were just on drugs when they worked on this movie. I mean, the visual effects team definitely was. I would personally love to know why the fuck this movie exists. But we will save that talk for the end. The movie begins. Oh my god, I sound like James A. Janine. The movie begins in 1984. I believe it's all set during the Cold War. We are in a secret Soviet lab, which also happens to be a fucking space hangar. And this Russian fellow, his name is Sergey, remember that, is throwing bait into some sort of body of water. He's got this clumsy little friend. They accidentally kick a bucket into the water. This is all cute and sweet. This is when we learn that whatever creature they are feeding in this body of water is not only incredibly lethal, but also very intelligent. So intelligent, in fact, that whatever's in there can not only kill anything instantly, but can also understand and speak both fluent English and Russian. Then they do the classic movie trope, oh, well, I'm glad whatever's in there is behind that electric fence, only for all hell to then immediately break loose. The bucket gets spit back up, and we get a first look at what has to be the worst visual effects the world has ever seen. The human sharks. I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at. The fact that this got greenlit by a production company and was approved to be put out to the general public is beyond me. And I hate to be the guy to break it to you, but it does not get any better at all. I actually think the intro is the best effects that the movie has. It gets much, much worse. For the sake of this breakdown though, I'm going to try my best to ignore the CGI because it's arguably not the worst part about the movie. Can you believe that? This shit is not the worst part about this film. So yeah, these Russian scientists infuse human DNA with shark's DNA to create very poor looking hybrid human sharks. Well, what if I told you these sharks were gonna go to the moon? The reason they did this was to create a super soldier for the Russian military during the Cold War. And that is actually a pretty okay plot. You know, a country creating insane shit for war? That's not bad. You know, the USA creates Captain America, and the Soviet Union creates giant human laser sharks. Sure, I don't got a problem with that. So these sharks get out of their exhibit and just absolutely wreak goddamn havoc on the whole base. You can see the scientists running away. We see the sharks climbing up after them. You know, that gives you an idea of how strong they are. You get this really cool shot where you see this one shark and it has this fucking glowing red eye. So now we have a Terminator type shark as well. The cold open finishes with everyone running away. You get this overhead shot where all the sharks look like fucking G.I. Joe action figures just marching through everyone. This lady gets devoured in a fashion that I think deserves to be spoken about. Not spoken about in any good way, but it deserves to be spoken about. There's dialogue about how, oh my god, the world will be surely doomed if these sharks make it to the ocean. So Sergey and his Russian friend come up with a very elaborate plan. The plan is they are going to bait all of these super soldier sharks onto the spaceship that was conveniently placed 100 feet away. This spaceship is also somehow ready to launch into orbit within 25 total seconds. They bait the sharks into the ship. We get a very honorable sacrifice from this scientist as he buys Sergey some more time. He whispers, "For the motherland," while shooting this flare gun. You can see that this works because all the sharks, who were supposedly these hyper-intelligent killing machines, they all turn in unison and just admire this flare for about 10 full seconds. And he lights himself a cigarette before splattering ketchup on the window of the door. Sergey gets constipated about it. It's a whole thing. Anyways, next thing you know, we're going to space. Cold open completed. Summary. Sharks are on the moon. But not just any sharks. Russian super soldier sharks are on the moon. Title card. Fast forward to present day. There is a problem on the moon. And no, it's not the sharks. They actually don't mention why this crew is going to the moon until like 30 minutes into the movie. But rest assured, they have no idea of the aquatic danger that lurks ahead. A crowd is gathering for this monumental takeoff. A crowd so important, in fact, that they use the exact same stock footage of the crowd twice in 2 minutes. It's the exact same clip. We get some dialogue from these characters that is so cliche you'll actually want to rip your hair out. And then we discover that this lady apparently ate some bad tacos and can no longer go through with the mission. And in case you were wondering, I'm not joking.
I think I shouldn't have had those tacos.
The reason this astronaut is not going to space is because she has a tummy ache. Our commander here, Commander Tress, says that this woman cannot go on with the mission. She alerts Mission Control, and Mission Control provides an alternate to join the crew instead. The alternate is a crewmate that they have on standby. Apparently this plan was set in case this stupid bitch decides to eat bad tacos before takeoff. And then, because I was watching this movie on Tubi, which does commercials like during the movie, I thought this part of the movie was a fucking commercial. They show like the commander lady upset about needing the alternate, and this music chimes in. It's like this really cinematic drone shot, and I was actually looking for the skip ad button because it was such like a harsh change. I thought it was a fucking Yamaha commercial. Anyways, after our 3-second motorcycle montage, our alternate arrives and we get dialogue that sounds like it was written by middle schoolers.
Howdy, boss. Prepped and ready to go to the moon. I hear the commute is killer.
Apparently, this alternate and the crew have some sort of bad history. The whole crew doesn't really seem to like this fucker. Now, some of you might be wondering why. What could this alternate have done to piss this entire crew off? The movie literally does not explain why. Like, throughout the whole movie, there's no answer at all. Luckily for us, the entire crew moves on after about 2 minutes or so. We get some horrible jokes, the acting is fucking terrible, although it's not their fault at all. This movie lies on the people who allowed it to happen, not the actors and actresses. Anyways, next thing you know, we're launching off. We get this beautiful stock footage of people clapping. I love that these people that are supposedly watching the rocket take off are just looking straight forward. They're not looking upwards at all. Nevertheless, we're going to space. More specifically, we're going to the moon. The ETA to the moon is about 68 hours, so of course, we get there in about 10 fucking seconds. And not that I'm keeping track or giving out awards for certain scenes in the movie, but if I were to, I would like to nominate this scene for the Most Unwatchable Dialogue Award.
Sure, just trying to make a renewable source of energy that will support generations of thousands of people living on the moon. No big deal.
If anyone can make this fuel work, it's you. You led the team that discovered, what, 1,000 new uses for algae? What's one more, right?
Thanks, Commander.
Kill me. Moving on, the ship is having issues with an electromagnetic field that radiates from the moon. They're talking about this problem via their AirPods that they all have in their ears, but they can't get in contact with Mission Control. We learn that the mission that they are all on together is to retrieve some sort of satellite that's out here. It's some rover. I've watched the beginning of this movie like 15 times. They don't mention why they're going out there until they're out there. They get close to the moon, and oh no, everything's going crazy like. Got some good news though. You know how they couldn't contact Mission Control like 15 seconds ago? They can contact Mission Control now, but only for a few seconds, because then they lose contact with Mission Control again. Everybody's like, what the heck? This ship is going haywire. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going on with the ship. The buttons don't work, apparently. Everything got fried. Then suddenly, our brilliant commander comes up with an amazing and life-saving idea. If you just do this one thing that no one else would think of besides me, the brave and stunning leader of this group, then we can all live. One of them calls her captain, the other one calls her commander. You pick one and you fucking stick to it, bitch. While the ship is going down, they hit the satellite that they are apparently going out there to work on.
Now with the satellite, we won't be able to contact Mission Control.
We have both gained and lost contact with Mission Control probably 17 times in 3 goddamn minutes. We get this really cool turbulent shot. This lady appears to be experiencing a fucking earthquake. This guy's just having a seizure while playing Angry Birds. Anyways, they crash. Can we skip to the good shit now? They have crash landed on the moon. They come to terms with this rather quickly though, and they figure out that they can survive 6 months with the resources that they have on their plastic ship. Despite this, The emotions are clearly running heavy.
I'll never see my dad again.
Welcome to the club. They come up with an idea to visit the
Utudu River.
The what?
Utudu River.
The Utudu Rover? Okay. They did not actually mention this rover up until this point, but apparently there's a rover about a mile away and they can go get shit from it. They talk about who's gonna go see this rover and we get a masterclass in generic and boring space-themed writing.
Status report. Is anyone hurt?
Negative, Commander. We're all good here. System says no hull breaches either.
Tom, Henry, status report.
I'll do a walkthrough, then a moonwalk to ensure there's no external damage.
Status report. Status report. Status report.
One of the screenwriters, Anna Rasmussen, I think I'm saying that right, posted a tweet. The original tweet asked, what was the best compliment you've ever gotten as a writer? And she said that, quote, Sharkside is a feminist masterpiece. Someone told her that. Now, I am going to assume that this is a joke because I think that it is, but I do think it's interesting. If for even a second this tweet was to be taken as a real statement, I feel that the reputation of the feminist community would suffer enormously. Captain, the EMP waves knocked out our Windows driver. Control Alt deleting vortex gravity command. The team, now assembled, leaves the ship to go find the Utuado rover. There's some really awesome music and some really terrible VFX, but just you wait. Now that these people are out here finding that shit, the team back at the ship discovers something. Their monitors have glitched. They tried installing a Hogwarts Legacy crack on Steam Unlocked. Despite the fact that literally nothing shows up on these monitors, this character is adamant that she saw some sort of Russian code. Well, how could there be Russian code on the monitors? Luckily for you, we get some more amazing dialogue.
Cyrillic. Russian, maybe.
Russian. That's odd.
If anything, we probably picked up some Chinese characters from the U2 too.
No, it for sure wasn't that. Let me see if I can get it pulled back up.
You see, the feminine queen is adamant on getting to the bottom of it. Why were there Russian codes on my monitor? But this stupid, idiot, bigot man makes her stop and continue walking around the ship. Back to the team. They have found the Tooth Poopy rover. More important, their feet were not chroma keyed properly, so their shoes are fading into the ground. They find what they're there apparently looking for, and when this guy is bending down to get something, he bumps his head or some shit. Anyways, his nose starts bleeding, which I guess the sharks can smell, because it is around 24 minutes into this film that we get a true look at the horrors that we are about to face. The sharks somehow swim under the moon rock towards the crew. Apparently, the sharks can swim in the rocks. The sharks get closer. Fear finally falls onto the eyes of the crew. They realize they must now run. Look at this run, and look at the shark jump out. Oh my god, I'm gonna piss my pants. We get our first real kill of the movie from this violent and horrific attack, and everyone's running away as fast as they can, but the shark is on their tail when suddenly a burst of fire spouts up from the moon and kills the shark. It is here that we get a close look at one of the many failures that an entire production team decided to greenlight. Now, they realized that the fire that was set off was clearly some sort of trap that was set up for these sharks. But while they're discussing this contraption, big reveal, the shark is alive. And then from out of nowhere, a fucking axe, spear, sword thing gets thrown from like 30 feet away, all in zero gravity, and impales the shark right in its titties. It dies. Now, who do you think might have done that? Can we get a drum roll? It's none other than this guy. This poorly lit man on a soundstage that has just been god-awfully chroma keyed onto the moon. And his daughter. Now, it turns out that this man is Sergei, the Russian scientist from the beginning of the movie. Now, the crew, having one, crash landed on the moon, and two, realized that there are Russian superhuman hybrid sharks trying to kill them, somehow remain very calm. Everyone starts talking. His daughter, for some reason, decides to pretend to be a badass because, you know, this movie is a feminist masterpiece by impaling the dead shark with her spear, but her spear doesn't actually quite reach the CGI shark. It actually ends up being like 2 feet short, and then there's just a splattered blood effect. These are simple fixes, no? Couldn't you just move the shark? At least make the spear come fucking close to the thing. I don't. Sergei thinks that the crew is there to rescue him, even though he's been stranded for...
After 40 years on the moon, I assumed somebody would want to bring me back.
40 fucking years? Jesus Christ. You might be noticing this weird tube contraction thing. Apparently, it lets them breathe. That way, Sergei doesn't have to use a spacesuit and a helmet. It's things that are this stupid that almost seem normal at this point. The whole crew actually ends up with these tubes eventually. Towards the end of the movie, everyone just kind of looks like a fucking cancer patient. If I did have to guess, though, I would assume this was an intentional choice to prevent the soundstage lights from reflecting off the space helmets, which is actually a great call. But that's the thing that you decide to do, right? Really? Out of everything? Listen, that's just an assumption. The whole reflecting soundstage lights thing. Maybe the writer had a vision where towards the end of the movie, the whole crew is supposed to look like they have fucking asbestos. I don't know. Anyways, this one guy notices Russian girl's back looking a little bit strange. He goes over to try and see what's wrong with her back, she twitches away. Clearly, that is a very sensitive subject to her. The subject is so sensitive and so private, in fact, that 10 minutes later, she voluntarily reveals exactly what's on her back. Sergei gets really upset about this guy trying to touch his daughter.
If you ever will try to touch my daughter again, I will make the arrangement to send you back home in a plastic bag, you understood?
And then they move on from that entirely. Sergei has a little go-kart thing everyone hops on. Seems like everything's going really good, but then, right as this dumb fuck is getting on the go-kart, from out of nowhere, a shark jumps and takes the crew member, whose name is apparently Henry. Into the dungeon Henry goes with this shark. The commander's like, oh my god, we gotta save Henry. Sergei's all like, oh, fuck you, puss. And they leave him there. He is being held hostage by Russian sharks. Scene 1 completed. Summary. What the fuck are we doing here? In the dungeon, the sharks are all like, oh, we need their ship for some reason. The crew drives back to Sergei's ship, the same one from the opening, where the daughter bitch is then questioned as to why she is able to breathe comfortably without a spacesuit. This is where we get our first eye-opening plot twist of the movie. The daughter is a shark. The backstory they give is that Sergei was scouting an abandoned shark camp. He came across a little baby bitch. He stole the little baby bitch, and the rest is history. They talk about Elton John for a little bit, which I'm okay with. We get a short explanation as to how the sharks are able to breathe on the moon. I am not even going to begin breaking down the process, so instead I'm just gonna play this clip.
So they able to have it by consume algae they harvest, and I able to extract it from the containers I grow them in. So that's why my ship is full of oxygen.
Anyways, after the group jerk-off session, they're like, hey, Henry's still in the dungeon. And they begin creating a plan to rescue Henry. Speaking of the shark dungeon, hold up. Pause. Enhance. That bitch, low-key, got some cake on. I will be hearing everyone out. Henry is being interrogated by the MILF shark regarding the whereabouts of the ship. Not the shitty Russian ship, but the cool, awesome Chad American ship. He won't give up the location at first, which is very honorable, so a large male shark comes in and bites his fucking leg off. Fair enough. I do love the scream when he gets his leg bitten off. Very much reminds me of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Rev up those fryers, because I am sure hungry for one. Help! Help! My leg!
We get an idea of what the sharks want. Shark MILF and the whole little team wants to rule the earth, yada yada yada. Can you believe we're only halfway through this fucking movie? Henry ultimately gives up the location of the ship like a complete fucking coward. Meanwhile, the dipshits go off on an adventure to try and rescue him. When suddenly, oh no, shark attack. Big, terrifying YouTube green screen effect shark attacks them. They jab at the big-titted animal before small bitch does a flying leaping maneuver going over top so she can stab it in the back. A woman stabbing something in the back. Can't say I'm shocked there. She makes this weird face, kind of looks like she's experiencing digestion issues maybe. They move on to explore the Shark Moon Kingdom. In the meantime, some of the crew members have taken it upon themselves to go off on their own mission. The mission is to find the other characters who are off exploring the Shark Kingdom thing. To be honest, I don't care. The first place they check is the Yupakaka rover. They walk very slowly to the corpse of their crewmate they just found. This is actually the real speed, by the way. This isn't being slowed down. They report the body to their commander, but the frequencies are picked up by the sharks. Did I mention the sharks can triangulate radio frequency? These set of crew members see their first shark on the moon, and they decide rightfully that they want nothing to do with it. With lightning speed, they flee the scene. Unfortunately for this one fellow, it was just a little too late. Boom, shark attack, whoop-pow, bang. One thing I do find amusing, this guy seemingly gets attacked like just a few feet behind this lady that's also running away. Like they're both just running like same pace, you know? The guy's maybe like a yard behind her, and he gets swooped on, killed, but the girl is somehow completely unaware of it. I guess she couldn't hear it. Listen to the dialogue.
Oh, and you cut out for a second.
What do you mean you cut out for a second? How the hell did this moron remain unaware of what just happened? You didn't feel any presence or hear any noise when the giant shark hybrid beast just ripped your friend to smithereens 3 feet behind you? You just heard nothing at all. And when you turn around, he's just completely gone. Vanished without a trace, even though you're on the fucking empty moon. That's this woman's thought. Radio frequency issues? Damn it, you cut out. After all, this movie is a feminist masterpiece. You make this character look like such a stupid bitch. The shark comes back out. It's about to attack the girl. She throws a fucking rock at it. She gets killed. This is supposed to be the scene where the shark is like eating her flesh after killing her. It just looks like she's having some sort of allergic reaction. Back to the ship. Dumbfuck 1 and Dumbfuck 2 have come up with a plan to be able to return back to planet Earth. Not that I personally would take them up on that offer, as I hate it here and I don't want to live. This is not a joke. It's a cry for help. The only caveat, the only condition to this plan is that the ship has to take off within 6 hours, or the math that Dumbfuck 1 came up with would suddenly not work, and they'd be stuck there. So they have to leave soon. The dumb fucks are happy with this news, but realize they need to get the other crewmates, the ones in the shark dungeon. You know, they got to get them back to the ship so they can take off. The plot is set, but dumb fuck 1 can't get in contact with the rest of the crew. The team is entering the shark dungeon, trying to find Henry. They run into a shark bodyguard, kill it, and then they run off to go find Henry. Surprise! They found him. And he still doesn't have a leg, so at least the continuity is there. Henry warns the crew of the shark's plan for world domination and explains to them why the MILF shark needs the American ship and not the Russian one. After some general discourse, everyone sort of agrees, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. Sharks ruling the world? Okay. This was probably a lot to take in an hour ago, but for these astronauts, makes complete sense. They've accepted it. They hobble Henry out of the shark dungeon, and on the way out, they run into a room full of a bunch of vials that contain little baby sharks. A rather heated debate starts between the NBA player and the Russian girl. LeBron's take is that, hey, we can just kill them all now and prevent like a ton of potential human deaths. These are obviously killing machines that were designed to cause mayhem to society and people at large. And the Russian bitch is all like, oh, but they are little baby sharks. They not do nothing wrong yet. They don't come to a decision because one of the little fuckers starts whining and crying. Typical baby. This alerts the other sharks to come in and see what's going on. Everyone leaves. Everyone besides the little Russian bit. This is where we learn something rather peculiar. You see, fellas, MILF shark and Russian bitch are actually siblings. They have a little chat about their differences. One's a shark human, the other's a human shark. There's some abandonment issues because she was left at the camp where Sergei found her. So the entire crew, including the little Russian bitch, leave the shark dungeon with Henry. Mission successful. Summary: shark want ship, but crew want ship. Who get ship? Back at the ship, dumb fucks 1 and 2 have come up with a plan to live for a few months in case everything goes south. When suddenly, a large YouTube metal clunking sound effect plays, indicating that a shark is up to no good near the ship. Now, we don't know for sure if sharks have boarded the ship, but as a precautionary measure, they arm themselves with nearby weapons, a wrench and a metal pipe. Back to the crew, they have located their space go-kart and they pile everyone up for a ride back to the ship. It is here that we see what is easily the worst looking CGI of the entire movie. And let me be clear, that is saying something. Out of every shitty shark, the following one is hands down the worst. What the fuck is that? We'll talk about this later. Russian bitch throws one singular spear at the 900-foot beast, and this one tiny spear inflicts enough damage to divert the shark off into another direction. The crew then makes their way back to the ship. Yippee. As they start heading inside, they see the door has been ripped off its hinges, giving us the context as to why we heard that YouTube metal clunking sound effect that played earlier. The space hybrid Russian sharks have boarded the ship. The crew finally reunites with one another, which is great to see. Everyone catches up. They mention the previous dumb fucks that went out looking for them only to be eaten alive. Don't worry though, because your strong female crewmate went down as a battle-tested hero, having thrown a singular rock at the murderous shark. They don't take any time to mourn these losses, which, to be fair, why would you? You gotta get back to Earth, which does seem to be the general consensus among the group. The dumb fucks relay the plan to the crew to fix the ship and head back home, and everyone is happy to help. Henry reveals why he is now missing a leg, and dumb fuck 1 gets a little upset because Henry did sort of rat out the location of the ship. That does cause a little tension, but also sparks a fire in Henry. Right as the plan to escape is going to spring into action, we see a fuck ton of sharks trying to break into the back of the ship. Henry, having just been made aware of what a pussy he is, decides to be the hero. He makes the ultimate sacrifice by rocket riding his way through the horde of sharks as a means to distract them and lead them away. His brave plan works. He has bought the crew valuable time to escape, but unfortunately for Henry, it was too late. A shark latches on to the rocket-riding device, and Henry, taking likeness to a certain religion found in the Middle East, blows himself up. I would like to now take a moment of silence and play a short memorial video for Henry, a loving father, husband, son, co-worker, friend, husband, and father.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've troubled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
Moving on, everyone is in the cockpit. Dumbfuck 1 reveals that he's made some mistakes in his math. Instead of having multiple hours to leave the moon, they now only have 24 minutes. Luckily for them, Sergey has done all the repair work, and they are ready for liftoff. As everyone prepares to launch, more sharks board the ship upon the command of MILF Shark, and the crew has no choice but to hide or fight. Dumbfuck 2 takes the first option and decides to hide under a table. Despite apparently being the most intelligent and lethal killing machines the world's ever seen, this hiding spot actually works. That is, until Dumbfuck 2 decides to exit from underneath this table just a little too soon, knocking something off of it and making a big ass noise. The shark bitch then drags her away. Meanwhile, Dumbfuck 1 is running off to the control room, I guess, where he is getting the USB drive with the flight plans. At least that's what I'm led to believe. He gets them, but then is greeted by a big old shark who immediately kills him with just one swipe. That's it. NBA player goes to investigate Dumbfuck's death. You know, he sees a big old thing of strawberry syrup on the ground. When boom, from off the top rope, shark attack. The shark swipes NBA player's spear to the ground. NBA player spits on the shark. Kinda kinky. I'm into that. And it looks like LeBron James is cornered and facing imminent death. When suddenly, hooray, the crew's here. But they're not here to kill the shark. Instead, they surrender. Shark MILF and her goon squad gets gathered up with the crew for a good old meeting. Everyone's talking, just throwing out ideas, you know? The humans aren't very keen on the whole surrender and let sharks take over the world idea, so our brave and stunning commander here starts throwing out some concepts for the sharks to consider. They decline. I could definitely make a good Shark Tank joke here. You know, the commander just pitched an idea to the shark and it got denied. Kind of like what happens on the business show Shark Tank. But I don't think anyone would get that joke. So for that reason, I'm out. The crew comes up with a plan to escape the ship, and they decide to try and see if they can find resources to return to Earth on Sergey's old Russian ship. But while discussing this plan, the big, scary, mean shark, you know, the one that cut off Henry's leg, may he rest in peace, comes up and looks like he wants trouble. The crew prepares for a fight, and as the mean-looking shark marches closer, suddenly, boom, a spear goes right through its chest. But who could have done that? It's Henry. What an awesome and unexpected turn of events. He is then immediately killed. I'm not joking. But he did get the flash drive off Dumbfuck 1. The flash drive with the plans to escape and stuff. So that is pretty awesome sauce. Instead of trying to take over the entire shark-infested ship, they still do decide to just escape now that it's free of big mean shark bodyguards. Everyone jumps off the ship that seems to be 50 feet in the air, and they land gracefully, seemingly defying all laws of physics both on Earth and on the moon. But nevertheless, everyone jumps off except the little Russian bitch, because she is talking to Shark MILF. Shark MILF is upset that Henry killed her bodyguard, so she attacks the little bitch. But boom, knocked off the ship. Oh no. Somehow, everyone lands on the ground safely, except for Shark MILF. But Russian bitch can't be proud of killing her sister for too long, because an army of sharks looms over the horizon. Quickly, they run back to Sergey's ship. Sergey reveals that somehow, despite decades of not running, decades of no maintenance, and just generally outdated technology, that this rocket ship can still fly. But they only have enough resources for one attempt. I'm not sure why Sergey hadn't already attempted to leave the moon. After all, at the beginning of the movie, he was under the impression the crew was there to rescue him after being stranded for decades. But you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about that. Maybe Sergey had this exact scenario planned in his little Russian mind. The only problem with this plan, though, similar to the situation on the American ship, someone has to buy the crew time. Sharks are attacking. This is the third instance of this happening in the movie. It happened in the intro, it happened 20 minutes ago, and now it's happening again. And listen, I get it. It's a callback to the beginning. Sergey is going out like his communist friend from the cold open, but for the love of God, if I may leave just a teensy-weensy suggestion, please come up with some better plot lines for tension instead of just constantly having to buy time over and over. I don't care. Anyways, the plan is the sharks are currently headed back to Earth, right? That's no good. Mimi, like Earth, no human Russian sharks, but they are still somewhat close to the moon. Sergey is going to take the Russian ship, fly it directly into the magma rock pool thing that is right in the center of the shark dungeon city, causing an explosion big enough to send meteors and other large debris into the atmosphere, taking the shark ship down. Does that make sense? The short answer is absolutely the fuck not. Sergey gets into the ship just like the beginning of the movie. It's a real callback, and then boom, 9/11. Sergey's dead, but the plan worked. A bunch of debris flies into the air, takes the main ship with all the sharks out, so that's a plus. Don't get me started on the logic of any of this, please. Actually, get me started on the shark ship took off 20 minutes ago. How is it 300 feet away from where it took off? It's a fucking spaceship. Never mind. The shark ship goes down in flames, crashes into a pool of lava. It's a whole thing. And then we aren't shown what they escape on. I really don't know. Matter of fact, they don't even touch on that at all. They just destroyed both ships that they had. And yet somehow these morons are blasting into orbit here. They're making it home, and we don't even know how. It looks like they're in some escape pod thing. But I don't know. Both ships are destroyed, and they didn't escape out beforehand or anything. There wasn't even a plan in place to get back to Earth after Sergey did the whole 9/11 thing. But Hooray! Upon crashing into the ocean, the mysterious life pod they escaped on immediately disintegrates and turns into an inflatable life raft. The good news is, we're back on Earth. Everyone is ecstatic and smiling. It's all a good time. They come up with an idea to use the stars to find land. It's a beautiful scene. But there's one more twist. The little Russian bitch is experiencing a strange stomach pain. The commander takes a look and...
Akula, did you maybe have any sort of relationship with any of the shark hybrids?
A relationship? What the hell are you saying?
Akula, I think you're pregnant.
What the fuck is happening? Anyways, the little fucker jumps overboard and the Russian shark bitch goes with it because...
I've got to take care of my babies!
I got to take care of my babies. I guess she's pregnant with shark children. I don't... We are then left with an overhead of the life raft, now surrounded by little baby hybrid sharks. It is here when we get the final line of this movie.
We're so fucked.
Roll credits. Wow, what a movie. The truth is, I don't know. Also, I don't feel like editing anymore, so you're now watching Flappy Bird gameplay. Horrible movies have to exist, and I'm grateful that they do. I don't know why this movie was made. Is it good? No. Is it bad? Yes. Very, very much so, actually. But the people who made it seem pretty awesome. And this particular type of film, what would the category be? Like a horrible type of movie? It's like its own genre, actually. Like just insane science fiction, shitty CGI type genre. And some people actually like it. So even though it's okay to joke about things, let's not take it too far, and we can just stick to the silly little jokes that we do over here on the AX3 channel. I was gonna do a kill count and actually tally up the deaths in the movie, but I don't feel like counting everything. So I'm just gonna say that the number of deaths in this film is more than 2, but less than 1,200. So do with that information as you will. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you're new here, I'd appreciate it if you dropped a sub. A few of you may have noticed I've been on a little YouTube break. I have been enjoying it, even though I get all sorts of shit from you people. It's okay. I still love you. I'm getting back into the swing of things again. I'll be posting some more. My mission to take over the entire world has not stopped or changed. I'm just not a child anymore, and I have to take care of some big boy stuff. I will be moving again here shortly, and I don't feel as burned out and bored with posting and YouTube in general anymore. YouTube is one of my favorite things to do, but when it starts to be not fun, it starts to be not fun. Make sure to follow me over on Instagram. It's at AX3ED. I love you fellas, and I'll see you soon.